Get unlimited access to all of our CPE courses at www.teachucomp.com/unlimited CPE.
In this lesson, we will examine review questions 1 through 3. Let's start by taking a look at review question number 1. Which of the following is an example of a person likely to be able to deduct moving expenses? A. A student who moves 75 miles from home in order to attend a private university full-time. B. A 24-year-old college graduate who moves 10 miles off campus to start a full-time job 10 miles away. C. A 45-year-old man whose employer transfers him to a location in another state and reimburses moving expenses. Or D. A 25-year-old college graduate who moves from Boston to pursue work in New York City in January, but who doesn't find work for 6 months. The answer is D. As long as the college graduate finds work within 1 year of the move, the moving expenses are likely to be deductible. Now let's take a look at review question number 2. Joe is moving to a new city to start a new job. Under which of the following circumstances would Joe's move be considered closely related in place to his new job? A. Before moving, Joe drove 31 miles to work each day. From his new home, Joe will have to commute 40 miles to work each day. B. Before moving, Joe had to drive 55 miles from his old home to his new job. Joe decided to move into a rental property owned by his parents, which is only 15 miles from Joe's new job. C. Before moving, Joe had to drive 35 miles to work each day. Joe moved into his summer beach house full-time because the beach house is only 5 miles from his new job. Or D. Before moving, Joe had to drive 58 miles to his new job. Since moving to his new home, a rented condominium, Joe only has to drive 6 miles. The answer is D. Since Joe's commute is more than 50 miles shorter than his old commute, Joe can deduct his moving expenses. Now let's take a look at review question number 3. Which of the following is an example of a person who meets the time test necessary in order to deduct moving expenses? Would it be A. An employee at a retail store who works part-time for the first 22 weeks of the year after moving and who works full-time for the remaining 30 weeks of the year? B. A self-employed person who works full-time for 4 months during the first year after moving and 6 months during the second year after moving. C. An employee at a factory who did not work during the first 6 weeks after moving, but who worked full-time during the remaining 46 weeks of the first year after moving. Or D. A person who is both an employee and self-employed who worked full-time as an employee for 25 weeks of the first year after moving and who also worked 60 weeks part-time as a self-employed person during the first 24 months after moving. The answer is C. Even if the employee missed 6 weeks after moving, the employee could still deduct moving expenses if he or she worked full-time for at least 39 weeks that year.
Like what you see? Get unlimited access to all of our CPE courses at www.teachucomp.com/unlimited CPE.